like the prelude because it gets the folks around me to stop talking about stuff and remember why we're here. I like the prelude because it begs me to be spiritual and not physical. I like the prelude because it's a call of God. So think about an answer to yourself. What's your favorite part of worship? I figured most people would say the benediction and the postlude because we're headed out. But the deep thought came out of the mini sermon was the prelude. A quiet time to do nothing but be with God. Whoa. Are we all that intense with worship when we come together? Look at the life of Jesus. Mark, in his writings, uses the word immediately 50 times at least. I've counted 50 times in reading Mark's gospel. Immediately, after they came out of the synagogue, they went into a house, and immediately they spoke to Jesus about her. There's always this urgency in Mark's gospel to do something. Doesn't that sound like us? I don't want a show of hands. How many of us this morning that if we don't feel like that we're doing something, we're wasting time? We've been taught, now don't sit around here idle, do something. And we've been so programmed to do something, we don't know how to be something. To just be. We don't know how to answer the call of the prelude to just be, because we've been reading a whole lot of Mark's gospel that's instilled to us immediately. That's an urgency. Urgency creates stress. And immediately is a stress producer, and now we don't know how to be still and know that God is God. We don't know how to be still and experience silence. Got to be something wrong. If this morning I took 30 seconds and just stopped in silence, we'd start, did he die? I mean, because have you ever thought about how long 30 seconds of silence is in your life? We were the other week in a restaurant, and there was a younger couple with two small children, and the children were twins, and it was their birthday, obviously. And I looked, and here's the mom with her iPhone, and just got those thumbs going. And Dad's got a tablet set up in a holder on the table, and every once in a while, they acknowledged there were two children there on their birthday. There was a gift bag by the table. And there was a celebration cake, it's called, at Olive Garden that they brought out. It's a great big thing for $6. I mean, if you can eat sugar, go for it. And I just watched this and watched it. And then I got that look and word from Sharon that said, don't you do anything. And I went over and I said, folks, I'm not sure that you know each other, and I'd like to introduce you to the party in your table here, sitting here. And I said, we want to sing happy birthday to these children. And they looked up and smiled, and they said, okay. And I laid the tablet down, and I took the iPhone, and I laid it over here, and I put a napkin over them. Now, the staff at Olive Garden had just sang happy birthday. And they looked up at me, just smiles, okay, sing happy birthday to our children. I said, no, Mom and Dad, you need to do it. You need to do it. You need to leave the napkin down. Now, I'll probably never see them again. Wouldn't know them if I did, and they probably don't ever want to see me again. Church, are we that busy? Does anybody remember when the market was hit and the automatic washer came into being? The advertisement from Maytag and others was, it's going to simplify your life and it's going to free up your time. Just like the microwave, just like the convection oven, just like the Swan's truck and all of these other things that's going to free us up. And we've got all of the technology of computers and iPhones and iPads that's going to make life easier. Where'd we miss it? Because we're back here with the Jesus. Immediately get up and go. No, don't stop there. Go here and go there. Sometimes I want to see how far that I can throw a telephone. Don't you? Don't you? But Jesus is ministering in the midst of all the commotion. Immediately. And he cares for Simon's mother-in-law, and she begins to serve him. And he begins to care for the whole city that's gathered at the door. And there's times in your life and my life that you and I feel like the whole city's gathered at the door. Why is everything knocking on my door? You ever feel that way? You know why it is? Because we allow it. Because we feel like we've got to open that door. We cannot just be. Oh, it's an emergency. How do you define emergency? I was taught in high school journalism, the only time you used a banner headline was something equivalent to the end of the World War. Picked up the Charleston Gazette last week, West Virginia loses to Pitt. Banner headline. That wasn't a banner headline. It went against what I was taught in journalism class. That's just a Charles thing. We got a lot of banner headlines going on in our lives. Demands and expectations. And there's a lot of people that need help and healed and set free. And there's a lot of people that's oppressed. But somewhere, there's got to be a place for you and me. Right? Somewhere in all that Jesus was doing, and all the whole city gathered at the door, he went to bed, turned out the lights to try to rest. And verse 35 says, and in the morning, and it had to be early because it's still dark, he went to a secluded place. Now, I want to ask you, do you have in your life a secluded place? You know, think about it. Do you have, choir, a secluded place in your life to get away from all the door knocks, all the crowd of the city, all the brokenness and healing and needs, all of the struggles and frustration? That's your place. Jesus had one, so it must be okay. If you need to give yourself the permission, it must be okay because we're disciples of Jesus, and Jesus got up and left everything to go to a secluded place